certain things in gospel music that you just have to know. Like, for instance, if I played this, that's something you should know in all 12 keys. That's something foundational to gospel music. If I play this, that's a basic 7-3-6 chord progression. That's something basic. That's something that you should know as foundational. You should know that in all 12 keys. If I do this, that's something that you should know in all 12 keys. It's something foundational and something that's used in gospel music all the time. Another one is something like this. That's something a little more traditional. It's another thing. It's something foundational. Let me take you to one more. You know, that's something that's foundational that you need to know in all 12 keys. And so what I'm finding out is that, you know, a lot of us are like learning songs, but we're skipping over that foundational stuff and we're missing it. And when our ear hears it in songs, because I'm telling you, your ear is probably tuning in to sounds like that all the time in the songs that you're listening to and trying to learn. You're not able to pick it up because, you know, you haven't practiced it. You know, I can tell you right now, you know, when I'm listening, you know, to songs, I'm listening for all of that stuff. And the reason why I can tune into it is because I've practiced it so much that as soon as I hear it, I may not even know what key it's in, you know, because I don't have perfect pitch. But I may not even know what key it's in, but I can hear those changes because I've played those changes so much. You know, it doesn't matter if you know, they're doing them big like that. You know, my ear is tuning into it because it's something that I've heard, you know, repeatedly. I've heard it over and over again. All right, so in the Gospel Piano Boot Camp, basically what I want to do is I want to identify all of that foundational stuff. All right, from scales to the number system, which is imperative. I mean, because the number system is really how I learn songs. 1, 2, I use the number system like, you know, if I'm playing behind a soloist and I don't know the song they're singing, you know, I'm using the number system the whole time. The whole time my mind is processing. All right, they're going to the 1 here. All right, they're on the 5 right there. They're on the 6 right there. And while I'm processing that, I'm never really scared if they change keys because I'm always thinking numbers. So I can play, you know, in the A flat or an A because I know what to play on the 1, I know what to play on the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5. All right, so my mind is constantly processing. So we're definitely going to cover the number system. We're going to cover exercises that are going to deal with basic gospel music tags. You know, something like that. Or one thing that I stress to my students all the time is the 1 to 4 walk up. If you have any course of mine, you know somewhere I've probably talked about it, where I go from the key of C all the way back to the key of C. I'll do something like this. And it's an exercise I do with my students. So we went from the key of C, we went into all 12 keys back to the key of C. Now that is foundational. That's a foundational movement. Let me, and you know, just real quick, I'm gonna give you a demonstration why. Let's take, you know, this C. All right. So that 1 to 4 walks me from C to F. And the distance between the two is a 4, all right? So it'll work by me walking into an F major or by me walking into an F minor, all right? Because I'm just walking from a C to an F. So let me just give you a quick application, and your ear is probably going to open up as soon as I show this to you. Some of you may already know it, but let's take the key of A flat, and I'm gonna play this exact same thing. So let's take amazing. Let's do this, and we know we're getting ready to go to an F minor. So we can approach that F minor with the 1 to 4 walk up. And so that 1 to 4 walk up became a substitute for a 7-3-6 chord progression. But even though that sounds like a lot of information, it's something that's really foundational. And it's foundational in traditional gospel music. And so that's why I want to spend some time in this boot camp breaking down concepts like that, because these are concepts that you use over and over again and that you're hearing in all these records. Let me give you one more concept that I just shared with my students about a week ago. All right. A diminished chord always walks nice into a minor chord. All right. So let's go back to the key of D flat. All right. A diminished chord always walks nice into a minor chord. So in the key of D flat, diatonic chord theory tells us that normally the 2 is minor, the 3 is minor, and the 6 is minor. All right. That's what diatonic chord theory tells us. All right. So basically, I can apply this concept in that any one of those minors, I can walk into one of those minors from a diminished chord, but a specific diminished chord. It would be the diminished chord directly beneath that minor. All right. So directly beneath the E flat is a D. So no matter anytime I'm going to to an E minor chord, I can always walk into it from a D diminished. All right. Same thing. If I'm going to an F minor, I can walk that F minor from a E diminished, because it's a half step directly below the F, and I just pick that particular diminished chord. Same way with the B flat minor, I can walk into it from a diminished. That's a basic foundational concept. All right. So let me show you how it works. So let's just say I'm playing randomly in the key of D flat. Not playing any song, but I'm getting ready to go to the 2. I can just go right to the 2, or I can go. Now I want to go to the F minor. And that's a traditional walk up. It's a foundational walk up. You hear all the time in old school gospel, they do something. Let's go on to the 6. A diminished. All right. And everything I did is foundational stuff that I'm going to break up, and I'm going to show you piece by piece how it works within the context of gospel music. But this is really the trick for you, and this is what you would have to pay attention to. And I'm going to break it up, but you have to be willing to work every concept until you get it. I can show you the concept, I can show you how it works, but you have to be willing to sit and make sure you do it over and over and over again until it gets underneath your fingers, until you're comfortable playing it, until it gets in your ear, you're comfortable hearing it, so that when you're in a service situation or when you're breaking down a song, your mind can process it. Your mind can process it, all right? And really, that's how you really advance. Gospel music is all about, or any sort of piano, any sort of instrument. If you want to get good fast, it's about knowing what to practice and then practicing that thing until it becomes second nature. Repetition is the mother of learning. And that's just how it is. So this program won't work for you if you get in and you get on one of the early exercises and you get bored because I have you working on inversions. I just have you running that. And I tell you that I want you to run that 100 times. And, I tell you that you go, and when you come back to root position in this part of the keyboard, that's one. Then you go 2, 3. If you get bored doing that, then you really aren't serious about developing your craft. Because the truth is, knowing how to do that goes a long way in playing. Because I use inversions all the time, and the way I think about inversions is that whenever I'm playing a song, I want to incorporate the melody of the song, oftentimes in my right hand. So the inversion of a chord that I play is dictated on the melody, or is dictated by the melody. So if the melody is on an A flat, I'm probably going to play D flat in root position. If it's on the D flat and I'm in this particular part of the keyboard, probably play it in first inversion or maybe second inversion. Depending on if it's moving. So it's important in the long run that you're able to play all of your inversions. But then you ought to be able to go from 1 to minor 2 to 1 to minor 2. So this is another exercise that I would have you do. You say, well, where does that come in? That comes in right here. So let's say you're playing a groove. I'm doing the same exercise. All I'm doing is an exercise. And I would hear guys that played, on Thomas Whitfield albums or, Timothy Wright albums. They would just run stuff like that. And it's easy if you know what it is. All right. And so that's why, I just really wanted to take some time and really show you some of this stuff, because I want you to understand that gospel music is a lot of the little things that when they're put together sound big. And to really master it, you want to work out those little things one by one by one by one. And then my job as a teacher is to tell you what to do, but also give you some idea of why you're doing it, how it's going to help you in the long run. Because if you can understand how it's going to help you in the long run, it's going to be more beneficial for you. Some of you know I'm a preacher as well, and oftentimes I teach people on how to study the Bible, and one of the methods that I use to teach how to study the Bible is called the inductive Bible study method. And there's 3 steps to Bible study that also apply to gospel music. It's the observation step, in which you're reading a passage of scripture and, you want to pick out, maybe who the characters are, or, you want to identify where they are, if you're dealing with Peter and Caesarea Philippi, observation, you pull out all the facts. Interpretation, you want to understand kind of, how everything is working together. Interpretation is all about understanding, and then application is, in the context of Scripture, it's about taking all those facts, everything that you know now about the passage, the meaning and all that, and application is about applying it to your life. It's the same concept in piano. Observation. It's like the fact finding. Like you get all the little pieces and you observe them, and you get them underneath your fingers. You get them in your ear. You process them in your mind. Then you interpret it. You identify. How does this work? How do I get to the 4? Okay, I know the 1 leads me to the 4, but what chord on the 1? All right, I can normally, if I'm in a traditional set, I know that this chord leads me there. Okay, that's how that works when I'm playing a traditional song. But maybe I'm playing something contemporary, so I'll play it like this. So it's like you're starting to understand how it works in different situations. Then you move on to application. All right, this is how I'm going to play that change when I'm playing Amazing Grace. It's traditional. This is how I'm going to play this song when I'm playing Ricky Dillard's God is Great. So it's like applying it now to different songs and to different situations.